So, the first question to Yatin Pandya ji, the topic itself is a question to you. How building shape a city, create an image for the city? Do you really think it does?
I put together some images so that we are on the same page when I'm speaking of something. This has been the kind of official image of a smart city mission when we had from the government. So the point is this vision or slogan? Are these the kind of buildings that shape the image of the place? There is a difference between identity and an image. Image is what we want others to see us as, while identity is through our DNA what it is. And I think Corona taught us very well how we want to appear on a screen and actually where and how we have been, round the globe. Is this what characterizes, identifies, or gives image to the city? And we don't have time. Otherwise, even as an Ahmedabadi, I'm willing to put $1 million bet here if we can identify 5 places. It's anything, anywhere, you can write any name and that still works. Does that give any image to the place? Does that identify with the place? And why overseas? Both of these are Kerala. We have to figure out what is the image maker, what is the true DNA and identity of that, which Jaipur is appropriate, which Kolkata should we be promoting or be after. So that's why I thought I would put Singapore is a good lesson for us to learn. This is how fishermen's village, and I think it got independence around the same time as ours, 1960, that is what it was. 1980, you can say that it started investing all its riches into this concrete jungle. 2000, they saw that their tourism was declining, actually 97. And their analysis showed that they have lost their asmita, identity. You could go to Bangkok, Hong Kong, and it's just about the same. So entire policy of the government changed to create the new identity or the real identity, why you go to Singapore for. And that's where they started investing more in outer areas rather than Mustafa malls. They said instead of left, they said invest in the old town, Chinatown, encourage pensions and build that. Waterfronts, that's where Clark Lucid, that was the resource rather than a burden. And that gave the character to the city. So coexistence, tradition, modern, but really selling point, same way street. They said that everybody coming, not for the mall, not for this, which may be novelty at one time, but otherwise it's a public space that really matters. So the point is it just the building, which is a half statement. It's the places. We create spaces, people turn it into places. So people, place, and the structure together. So one is only incomplete sentence. So that's what we really long to go to Singapore for. This is also Mexico. There are this Mayan civilization, then the colonial invasion of the Spanish, and then you see in the next picture even the high rises in the backdrop. Then what is the character or an image? It's not necessarily building, but even the natural resource. For example, in Montreal, the name comes from Mount Royal. And there is a viewpoint preserved, that it is not the building's identity, but wherever you are, that mountain should be seen. And earlier there used to be a guideline, nothing can be taller than the mountain, So even the natural resource becomes the character, and that's where and pedestrianization, people friendly or this sort of pedestrian friendly cities, Barcelona, this is what you remember rather than some stray building somewhere. So when you say city's image, it is this, not one Bilbao building or not Eiffel Tower or not Taj Mahal for that. Taj Mahal does not symbolize Agra, does not even symbolize India per se. So this is what, Vancouver, again, there are viewpoints assigned. This is only the poster of Milton Keynes, a new city that was developed in UK. And look at this poster, they are advertising the city by public spaces and the kind of quality of life that you have, not the building that comes in. And these are very interesting pictures from 100 years apart of the place. And you can see there's a total metamorphosis in terms of build form and building, but open spaces, their relation with the natural features, the interface with water remains the same. So this is London 100 years apart, and you can see what is constant and what is variable, but it is those constants. Hong Kong, nobody has invaded on the mountain. Nobody has questioned the waterfront. It's only in between that things change. Same thing, New York. Nobody has taken away the Battery Park or Central Park, etc. Sydney, total metamorphosis, but DNA of space, streets, and all those continue to remain there. Barcelona. So there is possibility to grow and transform and metamorph, but DNA should not be changed. So it's the whole thing about how do you maintain, first identify, and then how do you maintain that DNA. This was just a quick comparison in Rajasthan when we did the Jaipur Vidyadhar Nagar, that taking clues from there and yet bringing. So left side is the Vidyadhar Nagar, right side is Jaipur. And you know that all these are maintaining that. So the point is that if we just transpose one building from one to that Eiffel Tower transposed with Taj Mahal does not make one India.
Every city has a different character. So, how do you define the character by its built form? What is your principle of seeing it?
Yeah, it's always an indirect answer more valid to this, because anything direct would become a formula. But what do we do as a doctor? Or why do we go to a doctor? To get diagnosed. And what does doctor do? That he goes through a report, he sees you, he physically finds out, and out of many possibility, he pinpoints that you have, malaria, or you have virus, or you have this. So I think that's our training about that. After going through all these analyzing, we figure out what is the true character. For example, somewhere it is not like, if I talk of Ahmedabad, it is not the decorated wood carved building. It is the contiguity of a built mass. It's a kind of low-riseness of that built mass. It's the kind of directness of the interface with the streets. It's the kind of life opening onto the street and mutual kind of interaction across the thing. It is about the outdoor space culture. So I think these are the things that signify that, rather than I put any building and put kind of jharokas from the old place and whatnot. And that's what is right now happening. Not I'm talking about old jharoka, but for example, we say that, okay, low rise. In some ports the neighborhood is called port, one place has also 4-story walk-up apartments. Now we might say that, okay, building of 4-story, which used to be the old Haveli, and next to that is 4-story structure. What is the problem? It's a huge problem. The Haveli opened onto the street with otas and direct interface of life, while the apartment has parking on the ground. It doesn't talk to the street. So that's where the whole character is transformed. So it's not just scale, it's not just typology, but so many of these coming together. And that's where, therefore, the bylaws, because there's always going to be new, has to be sensitive to identify that.
Yes, rightly said. I totally agree with it. I have a continuation question to Mr. Kal, because he had been an architect and a conservationist who has keen eye on heritage. When you design a building or when you conserve something, what is your motto? Because you already have some identity for the city, you have some character. You really want to follow the character which is already there, or you want to innovate something or put something new in it and get yourself an identity? Because when in Udaipur, when we design something, I design a jharoka, it is already it is there. I am just taking it, I am putting it somewhere. So there's no creativity in it, because they say you have just copied already which is there. Now, if I do it, I don't get my identity, although it's a good building. If I don't do it, somewhere my enthusiasm for architecture is lagging, because I feel that I didn't do it. So how do you actually take care of it?
Well, that's a interesting question. Designing, the base for our design is to look back and go forward. Look back what we have, what is our culture, where does our culture come from, and we are facing the future. So you can't design in airspace, because we are situated in a city, we are situated in a country, we are situated in a culture. I'm looking back and I'm designing for the future with maybe old material, maybe very new material, It depends on the project, depends on the design, but I always have a short but sincere look back and a very, very sincere look forward. This is kind of it's a process.
It is a very subjective thing. I
It's
can
a
understand.
process you can't give. You have to analyze and go forward. This is my opinion in this thing. Design always is a step into the future.
Okay, well said. That's something very proper and impromptu, because we all face these problems, and everybody has a different conscience. But at the end, the city has a character, the city has a culture, and we as architects have to follow some guidelines to see that that character has to be followed, and with your own identity coming into it. That's what we are for. That's a wonderful answer. So thank you.
But the guideline is guiding us. Still, we are the actors. We are
Yes.
those pushing something forward.
Yes,
The
yes.
guidelines are here for us to guide us, but not to restrict us.
Exactly, restrict us. That's wonderful. Actually, that is for a lot of youngsters who are struggling to get the character. This is an answer for you. Sir, I have a question for our own local superstar Gupta ji.
Thank you.
So you have been in Udaipur for 30 years, sir. You must have seen a lot of transformation in the character, in the city built form. When you came, the built form was different. Somehow the city was developing in its own way. What do you really think, that is it going the right way, or what is the process? If this is wrong, then why? If it is okay, then we are in the right way. What is your take on it?
So I will have to answer with a background of how I came to Udaipur, because this links up your question. I joined NID in April 81, 1981. Okay, so that is the century. It's almost say you are reaching 30 or 40 years away from that. Right? So when I
Photograph of dinosaur.
Yeah, I have a photograph. No, dinosaur and my photograph, they were
I
taken
have.
together, but now I've lost that photograph. But on joining NID, I thought maybe this is a very good institute. So initially, I was just impressed by the building itself. This building is designed by Gautam Sarabhai, and Gautam Sarabhai is industrialist architect. He was, and they designed a fabulous building, and the building was initiated by Charles Eames, one of the greatest product designers of the world. So he was an American. So they did a brick mortar and brick roof. It was a shell roof, very impressive, and it could be really added on to it. Gave a direction. It had a beautiful setting. It was near Sabarmati River, and the designer had designed it in such a wonderful way that it was expanding, and it was a building that could be stretched. Then after that, I had a friend who got me to Udaipur to design one single room in his sister's school. The school's name is The Study. So we did that. I said, I'll design at least the complete school. But he says, my sister will pay you for one room. I said, okay, we'll agree to that. And I designed that school. So that was 81, and I used to come to Udaipur. That time, this train was the best mode of coming. I'll take some time. Okay. So this train journey was also very wonderful. It had a steam engine, and used to stop in Jawar, where you could take your puri bhaji at 7 o'clock. So it had limited stock. So you had to really run, collect your puri bhaji and come to Udaipur. Sometimes it got late because their double engine has to be linked from Jawar to. Jawar is a small town from here, Kal. This is a town about 30 kilometers north of Udaipur. So I mean south of Udaipur. So we used to do that journey, and you could see how the local cities, villages, everything, you could get a very good view from the train. So down the line, I started visiting Udaipur. I sort of liked. I thought Ahmedabad is a place where you have to toil very hard and you have to reach your sites of your workplace. You need an effort. Udaipur was compact and you could do that. The fees difference is the way how clients paid you was say 1 is to 14. 14 times you get in Ahmedabad, 1 is what you get in Udaipur. Not now, that was that time. So after that, I mean, even architects were not known in Udaipur. I mean, what does an architect do will be, I mean, a very rare thing for people to know what architecture and what architects really do. So they used to tell me, you are an engineer or not? So you have to tell yes, because otherwise you couldn't work. So it was, I said architectural engineer. So that is the way I started practice here. And what I saw that most of the buildings here were scaled down, proportionate with the road, the trees, with the lakes, and the hills. Most importantly, the hills and the background. And now what has changed is, I mean, the scale has changed. The distances between houses is reduced, the height has increased, and the quality of architecture has also come down considerably. Not come down in the sense of really architects designing them, but by general, I mean, if you take a feeling of how you felt 30 years back and how you feel now, I think the quality has dropped. I'm not saying that all buildings are bad or all are good. They are of different categories. Then, if you ask me, I will say that no project is complete. It always keeps on adding, or there is an interlink. If I design a house, that is just the periphery, will be always linked to the house. The road is there, how you come out, how you come in, and all other linkages, they have to be there and they exist. That I think is the most important thing. So, and what you see from your house and what your house is seen with, that is a very important thing. If you stand outside in the street, maybe you will see three houses together. There is nothing like individual design. So we have to concentrate on the periphery of where you are designing. You cannot keep an apple in a rotten tray and serve it. That is what I want to tell you.
Ancient eras. So at that time, even palaces were not there. So they were made later. So when palaces and our today's heritage structures were made, so they were made for the first time. So those people had done it for the first time, something new. So why should we hold back? Because at today's time we have new materials, new innovation, technological innovations. So I think we should also channelize the new materials, new designs, like organic architecture is coming. Technological benefits are there in designing new buildings with new designs. So should we follow a zoning bylaws strictly rather than not designing the new buildings and structures?
My intention is not going back. My intention is going forward, but respecting what we have. So, how many students are here?
Lot of students,
A
sir.
lot of them. A lot of them.
This guy is the biggest student.
You
I
know
could
the
see.
student. I just may tell you one sentence, which is maybe in my words but definitely in my opinion, the most important thing. Everything you do in architecture, do it with respect. That's it.
Well said. I mean,
So
claps for
now-
this, guys.
Now let me explain respect.
Yes.
Respect your country. Respect your culture. Respect the site. Respect what you find on site. Respect the client. Respect the material. Respect the detail. And of course, respect yourself. So this always go forward, but always look back what's behind. Behind you, you have a big backpack of culture, of heritage, which is guiding you forward. If you do something on a heritage listed building, do it with modern materials. do it in a modern way. Do it not in a modest way. Go straight forward. This is my
Yes,
my,
yes, that
my
absolutely
intention to tell you.
rightly said.
Work with
I
the-
agree. I
Work
agree
with
with
the
you.
past, but go ahead. This is what I wanted to give you.
Respecting ourselves is the most important thing. Obviously, he has said a lot of other people to be respected, but still, that's something wonderful. I want to put one important question to Yatinji because now it has been ignited. Sir, what is an architect's role to build an image for the city under the policy making? Because as an architect, you are very creative in your own way. You want to construct something which is very creative and very adaptable, and whatever you must be thinking. But sometimes policy making comes as sometimes a boon, most of the time the other wrong side. How do you position yourself in that?
Okay. I would continue from response to that. I mean, not an answer, but question. For example, this question comes with a kind of a bias that when we say tradition, it's past and forgotten history. I make a distinction between history and tradition. History is a dead tradition which becomes obsolete in the changed time and circumstance. But tradition, even though coming from past, is a living history where its proof of existence today is enough to say that it's even valid in present time and circumstance. Why I'm saying this is that we think, in Ahmedabad, which is now 413-year-old city, 613, do you see any building other than some monument as residential building 600-year-old? No. The pole that we have identified as a heritage structure is oldest house is about 150. That also is hardly seen. And the point is that none of those houses have been static. From pure wood and 1.5 story, they've become 5 story. They have adapted from that wood and gunny bag to then coming to porta stone, then coming to the jackass floor, then coming to the concrete, even adapting European time, those Cupid and nude boy and all that as a decoration, as baroque or whatever you call it, to the present day. So the point is that when we say tradition, it's not static, but as you say, it's respect, that it does not kind of just for the egocentricity come out. And that's where, things like Rotterdam and other places where we're bombarded. But if you see today, the aluminum and glass facade building still does not jar out for the sake of being different from the other buildings which have been century old. So one point to come to that is I'm saying is that certain things are actually appreciated by being in harmony. One example is that in a diving, you get a maximum point where you don't splash. You don't even realize machli ki tarah chala gaya. The one like me falls in a belly and you get 0 point. Same thing car. The best driver, the kind of wow factor is if बाजू में से गाड़ी चली भी जाए and you don't think, oh my god, rather than anybody honking and saying that the driver is teaching praise. So I think architect is like the one that just blends in is actually more respectful, and you love that or you appreciate that because everybody started becoming loud. It would be a cacophony. Okay. So I think that's where it is architect's obligation, as much of identity, as much of conformity to the larger. We are a mediator between. It's one of the very unique professions. You have been paid by the client to satisfy his need, but you have obligation to the society and the earth's well-being. So you have to be a moderator with that. That is exactly where your responsibility comes in. And that's exactly where the policy needs to respond to. For example, building bylaw is a direct tool that we have been, governed by. If I talk of Ahmedabad, we used to have 4 feet balcony free of FSI, terraces of that sort. And as a result, people had a culture of sleeping outdoors, being outdoors and all that. Now it is relegated to 2 feet, and even 2 feet cannot be at the same floor level. Okay, that's why everybody is indoors. And when you are indoors, right from undue energy consumption to not even being able to connect to the world outside, and more importantly, that as a result, not even being part of the neighbor or neighborhood and things like that. And even your building with 2 feet projection is not well protected as the 4 feet was from rain and sun. So it multiplies that. So one simple thing, and it has a deteriorating effect onto that. So it's not just simply for the sake of it that you change, but there are certain typologies or there are certain instances, like all 4 houses were actually opposite, vertically projecting profile. As you go higher up, the building would rather come out, so that when sun is over it, the whole building is in the shade. Who denies you to use air conditioning? But why unduly heating? I mean, we had a perfect example here, thanks to him that we opened little bit of top and little bottom, and the same place is transformed even later in the day. Okay. So I think first thing first, that learn from the place because of their performance criteria. 3 performance criteria that today you think people come here for any of the new malls, or they come here to go into the old city and those ghats and that whatever. Palace is secondary. Okay. Gullies of that. Second, so timeless aesthetic, they've proven that. Not kal ka aaj pasand aaya, parso to bhul bhi gaye. Second, before electricity, they were there. So, if they were still comfortable, what principle do we learn for environment management without dependence on artificial means? And third principle is that they were socio-culturally close to the lifestyle. And those, if we learn that this is the true DNA of the culture of the place, of its people, why outdoor eateries are more popular. Why Tapuri wants to be looking like a dhaba and not a fine dine something. So I think these 3 reasons is why you respect what has come to you, because it has generated from the place, for the place, by the people. And therefore, when you do something, you are one of them. Okay. So let's not shout to be heard, because next person is going to be shouting even louder.
That's wonderful. Or in the entire discussion, I could get one thing out, that's Tapri. Okay, because he, I think, visited just now and he could remember it, and he has enjoyed the interiors of it and the tea also. I mean, he has something wonderful and he remembered it. So, a space has to be remembered. So, there are a lot of young architects and young designers here. Anybody can take I want everybody to answer it. What is that sort of advice you'll give to all these guys? Built form is like something which everybody has their own perception, right? Every city is different, every character is different, every architect is different in his own thought process. We have stalwarts here, SCP is sitting here, so we have been seeing their works for such a long time. So we have seen everybody transformation. We have seen how when these people are designing for that competition project, we were following them, how everybody is perceiving it. So, what is your advice? I mean, I want all the 3 to answer to all the things. This will be my last question, and you can answer it and we can wrap it up. What is the advice you want to give to all the younger generation, the young architects, designers who are sitting here? What is that one advice to when you create a built form? I mean, they are being taught in architecture and they're getting that exercise. What is your personal advice? I want everybody to answer it.
I would say be yourself. You have lived in the place, you have grown up with the built environment and the human dimension around. I say that any development has to have 2 symbioses. One, human to human, which we call society, and other, human to nature, who we are an aspect of. So when you respect these 2, you have already lived life and you have created something which would ensure that balance. So figure out the mistakes we have made. You have already got a benchmark from before, and now take it up further to remove the mistakes that we have made and create an environment which selfishly I like to retire in.
Sanjeev sir.
Yeah, I'd like to say I'll use the old dictum that less is more. And you do that. And
A bit
it
less
will
is no
succeed.
more.
No, it is still there. Less is more, and it will remain there.
Like you
So
do
carry
your
on.
assignment, sir, blank paper, very less, give 10 marks.
No, I had used this one for my own fifth year when Mr. Prophet Deshpande was he was IA president also. He said, Sanjeev, where's your work? He said, it's there. I have done one. What have you worked on? I said, on Mies van der Rohe. What does he say? He says, sir, and he let me go, and with the best marks in the class. So I went away with nothing. So I'm not saying you do nothing. You do minimum and get out the maximum from that. Use a small plot you have, you make a smaller building. If you have a one room assignment, make a table and move off. Okay, that should be the attitude. Your client will say that I'll go to the next architect. Let him go. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Short story. Less is more. This is what I told to one of my students. He was not convinced. He said, less is a bore. If you ask what advice would I give a student? We have a saying, tradition is not the ashes that you admire, but tradition gives you the glow and the fire to move forward.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Upon we can corner them actually. Sunil.
Sir, you talked about giving respect to yourself. So, I wish to know what is that line which defines that self-ego of having an iconic building, or giving respect to my own values and then giving an iconic building. So, it's like a dilemma for me now. And can you help me with this?
Oh, yeah. In either way, some people deserve respect or earn their own respect in designing skyscrapers, and other people earn their own respect for themselves in doing very decent small structures. So there's no general answer on that. It's on yourself, on your self-esteem, on your self-personality, and I think you can do a high-rise building like the Burj Khalifa with self-respect. Even that is possible. But never give up, and never work just for the capitalism. Work for yourself.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can I just add?
Yes, sir.
Actually, Carl has
Sir,
got
there
a
is something.
bit of small cornered things. He was thinking a bit. Okay, I could see that 3 stripes coming here.
That's
Just
also-
on the positive side.
I
It's the
just
last
obeyed,
word
I
from
just obeyed you all.
No, what I'm saying is that self-respect doesn't take away the I in anything. In fact, it's the I that gives you the reason
Wow.
to do and what we have called.
Wow,
I
that's
wow,
wonderful.
compare it with that of a ethic of a doctor. One doctor wants to flaunt and say everything that there is but Germans process, and I think I'll give you that. Is he the one or the other doctor which says that yes, this pill will help you, but I don't stop at that. For this you must exercise, avoid sugar, do this, sleep for these hours. So he's giving you the holistic answer rather than a sophisticated German anything like that. And it'll be $20,000. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks
That
a lot.
was wonderful.
That's more
So,
than I.
thank you very much, sir. We had a wonderful session. I would love to wrap it up. And, kudos to all the 3 star wars. And we are so pleased to have him there. Thank you very much, sir.